All righty. Welcome to the regular town council meeting Monday, September 8th for the town of St. Paul. At this time, Scott, would you please call to order?
Mr. Simmons.
Here.
Mr. Trevino. Here. Mr. Graham.
Here.
Mr. Swanner.
Here.
Mr. Dryden. Mr. Nail.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. And at this time, if you would, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all very much. At this time, we have some announcement. The budget and property tax rate hearings originally scheduled for this evening, September 8th, has been rescheduled for September the 22nd. Their hearings will be held at 7 p.m. here at Town Hall. 3-2, the Collin County Appraisal Review Board, ARB Hearing Board, is accepting applications for new members whose terms will begin in January of 26. The ARB is a citizen board that serves on panels to hear testimony, review evidence, and decide property owners' protests that cannot be resolved informally with the Collin Appraisal District. Applications will be accepted through September 30th of 25 and are available at www.collinarb.org. At this time, we'll move to the public comments. Sarah Beth, if you would stand and give your address, please.
Sure. My name is Sarah Beth Graham. I live at 3525 Lakeway Drive in St. Paul. I just wanted to give an update on the 3990 Lakeway Drive painting and then update on traffic as well. So over the last few weeks since school began, the traffic as well as the parking along both sides of Lakeway Drive has been greatly reduced. The changing of meeting times for the congregants, in addition to having no parking at the end of the road, has allowed the road to be much more easily passable for neighbors as well as for the school bus. Additionally, the larger yellow restrictive painting on the north side of the road, it really does seem to help keep that single lane a single lane, so there's no longer people trying to turn left and people trying to turn right. And so I just want to say thank you for taking steps to help reduce the risk to students on the school bus and making it safer for everyone else to drive down Lakeway as well. And then while I'm here, another thing I'd like to mention is that I have heard positive feedback regarding the meetings being taped and posted online. I know there's at least one local PTA that meets right now on the same night, and so that has St. Paul residents at that meeting, and so it's really helpful for everyone to be able to go back and access the packet and access the meeting at their leisure. So I think that's working great. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you very much.
But y'all have a great meeting.
Wow, thank you. We
Yep.
appreciate that. That's very rare. Yeah, it's very nice. At this time, item number 5, the consent agenda. The consent agenda will be considered for approval through a single motion and includes routine items that are typically non-controversial in nature. Any item on the consent agenda may be removed for separate discussion at the request of a council member, the town administrator, or any member of the public. We have 3 items to consider: the approval for the minutes of the regular council meeting held on August 11th, review of the June financial reports, and review of the July financial reports. That's 5.2 and 5.3.
So on the June and July reports, just poking through these, our legal fees are 265%, which I know we've talked about before. I think someone suggested, or it's been suggested in the past, that we consider moving an executive session where we have Mr. Clark with us a little bit earlier to the time frame. Is that something that we can discuss at some point?
Actually, I mean, the mayor he can move it around, and even this evening, if he wanted to, he can move directly to executive session.
So we found out there's an ordinance passed that was talking about our regular meetings have to be at 7 o'clock. So we could theoretically move Clark to 6 if he's available, and go 6 to 7, and then start our regular council meeting at 7.
Works for me.
Do I hear an amen?
Yeah, but I can't always make 6.
Okay.
And that's why years ago I asked them to move it to 7.
Well, the only thing, like Larry's talking about, the reason that brought up is just the cost
I understand.
and time. it
There's nothing that
takes.
prevents us to go into executive session right now, though.
That's right.
We can open up the regular meeting and go directly into executive session.
That's right.
That's true.
At 7 o'clock.
And now that the public's not here, we could do that this evening if we'd like to do that.
So,
Do we need a motion on that to go ahead and go into executive session at this time?
After we do the consent agenda.
Okay.
Do the consent agenda first.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, finish up the consent. That's fine.
And then the other one on the budget I was looking at is printing seems to be pretty significant. Is that?
I'm sorry?
Printing?
The packets have been a
That's what it is.
significant part of it. And then there's been a couple of the maps that we have reprinted, the older maps.
Yeah.
And framed, but like the packet we printed for you today, that was a little bit over $200.
Did we, I know we priced out getting iPads for these or something like that at some point.
We looked at that at one point, and I think JT had mentioned once before about a particular kind of printer to be able to print the packets.
MFP,
Huh?
multi-function printer?
That would be something that we might be able to spend some money, get a printer in here for you to print instead of going and paying somebody else to do it,
Okay.
if that's a cheaper option.
Okay, we'll have that on the next agenda.
Hey, Scott, I noticed in the July numbers, road and drainage, haven't used hardly any of it, and then you've got annual maintenance for $100,000 and major projects for $143,000, which none of that's hardly been used.
Which report are you looking at? The June or July?
Well, the one, just July's.
Okay. We do have a significant invoice that we're.
Yeah, I was
gonna be paying this
wondering, where
week.
are you gonna code that big ticket item that's coming in, and?
That'll probably be under maintenance. I'll have to go back and look, but probably under maintenance.
And the other project that we're gonna be discussing tonight, where would you propose that be coded?
We're probably gonna have to amend the budget, but we're gonna be going into a new fiscal year, so probably major projects.
Okay.
Because that project, if we move forward with it, I think that our portion of the project is somewhere right around $180,000.
That's on the agenda to discuss, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I have some
But there's a
Questions?
significant amount of money we haven't used. Do you expect that to be this, in this fiscal year, or is that gonna be pushed to next fiscal year?
Well, I mean, if council moves forward authorizing the project, it'll definitely, the cost will be probably booked in next fiscal year.
We'll book it
Right,
for this year or next year?
next year,
Why not this year?
because we're in September. So your fiscal year ends in a few weeks, you'll be beginning a new fiscal year. So we probably won't have the first invoice
So
in
when it's
until.
paid, is when it's approved?
When the work starts and when you receive the first invoice,
Okay.
which probably won't happen until the new fiscal year.
I'm just wondering if we need to take that into account for next year's budget then.
You're probably going to have to adjust that budget item, because right now, even in the proposed fiscal year budget coming up for 2026, we're going to have to adjust that budget number. So even monies that you're not spending this year, you're going to be moving into the next fiscal year to help cover that cost.
That's what I'm getting at.
Right. So we're going to have to adjust it.
I like it.
me as well.
I noticed Alex had mentioned something to me, you'll be able to answer that question. So Wiley Fire, when the ambulance and an engine both come out, they charge us twice, is that correct?
Well, they're going to charge you for the fire service, then obviously we're paying a quarterly payment for ambulance service, which is a flat fee.
Okay, well, I thought you showed me a deal where it was like two bills, like if the engine showed up here, then
Yes.
you'd get
So
the engine
The
bill.
fire service
Yep.
is a separate, which would be your engine,
Okay,
and you pay a quarterly payment for your EMS.
okay,
service.
so it was quarterly.
Right,
Okay,
right.
And what is that quarterly payment, do you know?
I can tell probably.
Okay,
But Wiley dispatches both always,
correct.
Correct.
so we don't really have a choice. I mean,
Right.
You're going to get both dispatched, period.
Do we have a count number and since we've had, or an idea of number and since we've had in the last quarter maybe?
Yeah, I included that in your proposed budget.
Okay.
I don't know those numbers off the top of my head, but the actual number this current fiscal year was less than what we had projected.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Right, that's why the number was actually, what we budgeted this year was a little less than what we are
Okay.
currently.
It just seems to me I've been hearing a whole lot more sirens coming down the road lately.
So EMS, we pay a flat quarterly rate no matter how many calls?
For the ambulance, yes.
Part of that whole presentation.
Yeah, I thought they were, when Wiley took it over, it was going to be per cost.
The fire service calls are the engine.
You know, I was thinking the same thing you were thinking on that. The way Alex kind of explained it one day, I thought it was individual, not quarterly, so
No,
that
it's
clears
quarterly.
that up.
Is there any open maintenance, road maintenance projects that are gonna be rolled over into next year besides the one that's on the agenda today?
The one that we spoke about earlier this year, crack sealing, will roll into this upcoming year. But we
Okay.
wanted to wait till the weather was a little bit cooler, and Adam from MOPAC suggested waiting until the fall. So we'll definitely be doing crack sealing as well.
Oh, the courts, are we increasing that budget as well?
I kept it the same as what we budgeted this year until we actually see things starting to
Something.
move. Right.
Robert, any questions?
No.
Okay, JT?
No.
David?
I'll make a motion, we accept the regular council meeting
Consent agenda?
for August 12th.
Okay, you have a second from David. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. As authorized by Chapter 551, Subchapter D of the Texas Government Code, the regular meeting will be convened into closed executive session under the following exceptions. Section 551.071, consultation with our attorney, zoning and various land use matters, and the town boundary map. Time now is 7:14.
Can we turn the camera on?
Can you turn the camera on?
All right.
Attorneys, you dismissed it.
Yes, sir.
Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for your attendance.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much.
Well, did
Do we have to put a door?
Did you lock this front door?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I just did that. Well, it was locked already, I just grabbed the key.
Okay.
So, yeah, at 8:26, we're coming out of executive session, back into our regular meeting. Do we have to open with a motion or anything?
No.
Okay. Just crank off, back to the regular agenda. 6.1, discussion and possible action regarding ordinance number 286-25-09-08 regarding enforcement of town codes through issuance of citations, repealing conflicting provisions of the existing ordinances, and establish an effective and providing for a penalty not to exceed $500.
Council, this was an ordinance recommended by our Assistant Town Attorney, David Overcash. He recommended that we move forward with this ordinance outlining who on staff, that includes your town code enforcement officer, has authority to issue notice of violations. And this is basically what this is doing at this point. And it gives you more enforceability in regards to staff being able to go out and issue the notices. Not the citations, because the citations obviously would be directed by a prosecutor for City Parker.
So I saw his email today that was talking about
Right.
where none of us could write citations, correct? Including you.
Right.
So
Well, there's nothing referencing in our code who has that exact authority. So that's why he drafted this particular ordinance here, obviously your code enforcement officer. But there was a new House bill that was passed and went into effect on September 1, that you have to be a registered licensed code enforcement officer in order to issue the citations or send a notice of violation.
To send a
But-
notice?
Well, that
would be a citation, I believe.
But
Not these warning letters that we've talked about.
no. But in order for Alex or myself to work in sending these notices out, we'd be coordinating under direction with Travis, which I think we would all want anyways. That's my understanding.
So do we, that's why I was asking, do we need to take, because under the group of people from building inspectors to
Right.
Travis to everybody, it's got town administrator up underneath that. Do we need to remove that? Because that was listed under citations. Am I correct?
Authority to issue citations.
That was page 3 of,
3 of 5.
In order to be compliant with the new house.
the new law, that's correct.
I would have to, Mr. Overcash is the one who drafted this ordinance. He knew the intent was to allow additional staff the same authority. He did not mention removing.
Okay. The only reason that I mention that is and
Right.
the council can discuss this as well. When it comes to writing a citation, an actual citation, I personally, as small as we are, would rather not a council member, not the mayor, not you, not Alex, be able to ever write a citation, because it's going to open us up without having certified, like Travis is a state certified code enforcement.
Right.
So if one of us that's not certified, even if it's supervised the way it mentioned it in that law, it's gonna leave us kind of susceptible to complaints, I'll put it that way.
Right.
He's picking on me.
Right.
Where if we have a contractor we're paying that's a licensed, state licensed inspector, it's gonna be harder for him to say we're picking on him.
How do you feel about having that responsibility, Scott?
Really, the only role that we saw ourselves, as far as in code enforcement being Alex and myself, based upon the new procedural, is that we were going to be sending out the notice letters. So the first 14 days, we would be sending that letter out. And then we would go out, re-inspect the property. We would inform Travis, hey, there hasn't been any progress. We want to move forward with the second letter, make him aware. We'd send out the second notice. And that second notice would tell them, well, the next step would be the code enforcement officer moving forward with potential citations. So that gives a resident 28 days to resolve their code enforcement issues.
So SOP would still
Right.
funnel through
Right.
our code enforcement.
Right. And the other part for drafting it the way it's been drafted is that, Travis is only out here.
Once every 2 weeks.
Right.
Or
Right. And that's really why I spoke to David Overcash about, we need to have some additional assistance in helping Travis, and that would that would include myself and Alex. And this would also apply to potential parking violations. Because we talked about that, he included some language in here as far as the transportation code. This doesn't give Alex or I the right to issue citations, and that's actually going to have to come from your prosecutor. All we're doing is helping our town code enforcement officer in his role, because you're looking at about a 30-day period that you're actually monitoring a piece of property, and he only comes out every 2 weeks. So.
Well, and the only reason is in here, it clearly says, and it kind of goes against what he says, that pursuant to this article and the scope of their assigned duties, a citation may be issued to a person by any of the following individuals. It's not talking about fuzzy letters, it's not talking about notifying Travis, it's saying point blank, any of those people can issue a citation.
Can we do this? If council wants to move forward with authorizing, approving this ordinance tonight, contingent that David Overcash provides further clarity, I'm pretty certain he wasn't directing us to issue citations, I can tell you that. But he also wanted to make certain that.
No, I think he said you had to have supervision, like you had to be in the presence of Travis.
And that would be Travis.
Right.
But based upon the clarity from Mr. Overcash, that we're not actually issuing the citation. It's not us.
And again,
I'm sure he
the
would.
only reason I mention it is you're gone, I'm gone, they're gone, new punch is in here, and if we have something written down that says the town administrator is going to do X, Y, Z, David Overcash may be retired by then. We don't want that.
What we want is further clarity as far as what that means.
What I would like to see is so long as we're not in direct conflict with the House bill. That's my thing. The last thing we need is for you to have to go to court to testify as a person who issued a citation, even under supervision.
Right.
That's something that you're already spread thin.
Right.
So then having to go down to court, I don't think would be in our best interest as the town.
Okay.
So other than item 7, do we have any issues with this ordinance?
I think so long as we make.
So would the procedure then be, if you're not doing the notices, but you notice something, or Alex notices?
We would reach out to.
You get Travis to actually issue it?
Yeah, we were actually talking about that today.
Which is just a form letter that
Right.
can be cranked out.
Pretty much.
By him,
And depending upon council's.
by you, for him.
And depending, we'll crank it out. But depending upon council's action this evening, our next step was going to be for myself and Alex to schedule a real quick meeting with Travis, talk about the protocol as far as moving forward and how we're going to work together as a team. But we see ourselves as aides to Travis, basically. That's it. Right.
Boots
That's
on
it.
the ground.
That's it.
Yeah, and I think you're looking at it right, I just think the paperwork says it
Yeah.
wrong.
It does.
Can we just strike 7?
I'd be good with that.
We
I'd be good
could,
with that.
just take him out of that list.
Then I'll make a proposal
position?
that we adopt whatever this
6-1.
286-250908 with the striking of number 7 on page 3 of 5.
Well, there's, okay. You want to define what section? Section?
Section 801006,
Thank you.
number 7, page 3 of 5.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Larry, did you vote?
Aye.
Aye, it is. Okay. Didn't hear him down there, so I wanted to make sure.
I was trying not to sneeze at the same time.
Moving on to 6-2, discussion of possible action regarding resolution number 25-09-08-A, approving revised code enforcement procedures for the town, establishing guidelines for the consent enforcement of municipal ordinances. Sorry about that. Open for discussion.
Justin, did you get all the verbiage in there that you wanted?
Yep, yeah, I just had I think it's near the beginning where it talks about political retaliation. There's the verbiage. Okay, this is
Exhibit A.
Never seen that, but
Yeah,
It's
it's
this
on page 1 of Exhibit A,
I-
the very first paragraph.
I'm comfortable with the changes.
Okay.
This basically pushes 20 days in line, which is,
28 days for business, and I believe it was 14 for commercial.
Here's what that one.
Yeah, that's all I had.
what I read.
And then the rest were,
Good.
I didn't touch those.
We're recording again.
Yes, we are recording.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first voluntary notice to residents, they would have 14 days to resolve the violation. Businesses would have 7. The second voluntary notice, residents would be granted an additional 14 days to comply, and businesses would be granted an additional 7 days. And then a reinspection would be completed by staff on the property to determine whether the violation had been resolved. If not, the code enforcement officer would be notified. And then the final inspection will be conducted by the code enforcement officer.
Correct.
The staff could call it remedy before then, right?
I'm sorry.
Staff could call it remedy before then.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I'm good.
We'll make a motion that we approve agenda item 6, number 2, with the town resolution number 25-09-08 Alpha A.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion 6-2 passed. Unanimous. 6-3, discussion and possible action regarding improvements to Lakeway Drive drainage channel. Kind of a combo between the two. I'll take this for a little bit. So I asked a question last month to Abiel of, do we know who owns that ditch? I don't know if you do.
Well, when I looked it up, I mean, my understanding from the last council meeting was that there was a question of how much City of Wiley was going to pay towards construction costs.
It was also the homeowners on the east and west side.
It looked like, we're not asking them to pay for it, are we?
No, but my question is, when,
I think, it looks like Ms. Hawkins owns the majority of it when I looked it up on the CAT. But again, that's looking at the CAT.
okay, so, yeah, I talked with Sunny, I didn't talk with the other one, she came to me. So the question comes, in this particular proposal, if the homeowners on the east and west own to the center of that ditch, and Sunny said she's got a survey that shows where everything is. But if we can't, all this GeoGrid and all this other $250,000 worth of work, if they're not gonna give up that property, then we wouldn't wanna spend $250,000 worth of work, because then if they kept that property, then they would have to maintain grid they couldn't afford. So the question is there any, we have the Cadillac option, where is the Chevrolet option and where is the used car option? We did that over here on Lakeview, where Kerry Lane goes down through, because they came and proposed a $1.5 million fix. I think they ended up doing what they could for $30,000. And that was to help 3 homes. This is only 2 homes. The other thing is, I think, David, when they broke it down, 22%, I believe, is what you had in here, is $50,000. Y'all want me to go talk to Brent Parker over in Wiley? Guys, I'm telling you, with that cost, they're gonna laugh me out of City Hall. On a ditch. On dirt ditch, yes.
But they already agreed before they did that.
Not to 50, nobody had a price tag.
I thought they'd already had the prices.
Not since I've been here. So my question is, it's
Since you've been mayor?
260, it's
Since
200,
you've been mayor?
yeah.
Yeah, no, they already did. When Gensler was mayor, I helped coordinate all that stuff. They knew what it was. They said, do it. They could have-
260,000.
No, 50,000. You know what you said, 50,000?
Well, the overall project, as it sits
Their
here,
portion is 50,000.
is 229 plus 26,000 for KSA to oversee and put it out for bid, right?
Wiley was right around $50,000 and the city was right around $175,000.
Wiley was fine with the 50,000.
But then you have the KSA fees on
No, that
top
was,
for
that
us.
was included in there. That was split into KSA.
Oh,
fees.
okay, I saw it separate,
No, no,
listed
it was
separate.
splitting all of it.
And so, all I'm
They
saying
didn't
is,
change their
It-
mind now, but
It is,
back when I
it is
already.
a separate agreement, but in the 229 proposal, our half is in there, the 11.5 and the 15, basic KSA's fees in here.
Okay.
But there is a separate agreement and a separate breakdown for the KSA part.
Okay.
But it is in
This is
the.
All I'm saying is,
Third time. This is the-
and I saw something in their proposal where they said using one particular grid or whatever was 75 years. I question, I can't imagine any drainage easement or ditch being anything put down that's gonna last 75 years. That's a lot.
This place is-
And so all I'm asking is, before I go to Wiley, we need to find out who owns that property, talk to those two property owners. Do they want to give it to the town? Do we want to take it? Or do we want to repair it and give it back to them to maintain? You see what I'm saying? And that could vary what we spend on that ditch if we're going to give it back to those
If you
homeowners.
don't mind, real quick, so 3 times we've gone to Wiley, this is the 3rd time. And to my knowledge, the first 2 times, they said, yeah, we can budget that, and we'll help you with that. So I think that I'm pretty confident that they'll have enough budget and they'll work with us on doing this. I just want to make sure that's clear.
That's fine.
I don't think we need to be fearful of going to Wiley and asking. This is a drop in the bucket for them, and actually, it's kind of a drop in the bucket for us, because we have a lot of money in the bank that we have not spent for the citizens of this town.
It's budgeted for this year, just
the
this year
thing-
alone.
Well, let's do it. So, except for the ownership part.
Yeah,
I get that, I
that's
get
the
that part.
question, yeah.
I don't think we have the right or should be doing things on other people's property. So I get you there. So we gotta figure out how are we solving that? Is it gonna be donated to the town? Are they gonna expect us to annex it? Because that's gonna cost money, I believe, to annex it. And so those are so give it to us and we'll fix it. Probably we could do that. You want us to annex it from you to do it? That's, to me.
Well, and again, they have to understand too that Sunny can't. She just hired a bobcat to come over there and clean her ditch out.
Yeah.
But besides that point, like the other people, they pay a landscaper, but they're not mowing that ditch. So now that we're getting code ordinance enforcement,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden they're fixing to get into, you're gonna get letters if you don't maintain your ditch. So the question is, a lot of people, some people are with you, they don't want to give away real estate because it hurts property value when you figure it by the square foot. I get it. I just want to make sure that before we approach Wiley, we look at all options and know all answers.
So we can't vote on this tonight.
No,
So-
not in my opinion, but
So I would concur that we can't do something on somebody's property, and if it's their property, I don't think the city needs to pay to maintain it.
I mean, I guess you could do it if there's an easement, right? You can do easement.
Well, that's just it. I'm considering, I would assume it's some sort of easement, drainage easement.
Don't assume.
well, it's owned by
We don't even
the
have a
property
map.
owner.
Huh?
We don't even have a good map. Don't
Yeah,
assume.
well, we would have to have,
You have to look at the plot.
we at the very minimum have to have an easement to do this, for sure. Yeah. At the very least.
No,
I think the
we
public
did
has
work
some
on Kent's
level of
property
responsibility here.
with just an agreement.
Because, and when I mean public, I mean everyone who's draining into that basin. So yes, that drainage ditch is shared property or maybe Sue's property. But is it right to hold those two property owners accountable for maintaining that entire ditch when, let's say, 2,500 residents get an advantage of using that ditch because all the water goes through that ditch?
Right.
So there should be some shared expense by everybody who's contributing, in my
Well,
opinion.
where this whole problem came from, you weren't here at the time.
I actually agree with that, that's true.
So, you weren't here at the time. So what happened was, somebody, to try and help out, put riprap rock down in there to keep it from washing. And it created more problems. Also, when St. Paul fixed their road, they put oversized culverts in there, which overloaded what Wiley's culverts do for cascades. So it's a combination of problems the city has done, and previous councils have said, yeah, we messed up by helping, so we're gonna do something to fix it. Nowhere did it say, and again, I don't think the homeowners even expect a permanent fix for the next 100 years. I think dirt work, clean it up where they can mow it and get it done, and explain to them that it's theirs, or they can give it to us, and then at that point, we can figure out what we wanna do. But again, to share, and I'm one of them that backs up the street from there, but there's only about 6 of us that share that ditch. There's not very many. Most of the water comes off Parker Road, TxDOT, 99%. When they did Parker Road, they flooded us. And so that ditch, the sediment's built at a rapid pace. So it's probably gonna continue, and that's why I say, if running a Bobcat through there solves the issue, that may be the thing.
Just do that every couple of years.
Exactly, it's gonna be a heck of a lot cheaper than $250,000 for the grid and the rest of it. But again, that's not for me to determine, I would like to see different
Would the
proposals.
homeowners be, would they be okay with that?
Well, Sonny's already paid a guy to come through there to try to straighten out her yard.
So is it just that the silt that's being built up, but not
Silt
erosion of the
trees?
bank?
No, on the Wiley portion is where the dirt is collapsing in.
Right.
Because of cascades. They actually raised Cascade property when they built it, so the water is draining back into St. Paul. That's what's causing the problem. So the question is, how do you help those homeowners when it's Wiley's properties that are actually pushing the water back on them? That's the catch. So again,
I watched from afar, so the grass was recently maintained.
Right.
Where as we saw in the photos, I got firsthand, I walked the property to see what type of damage is going on, and the erosion problem is very, very evident. And the homeowner just paid, to try to bring some dirt back in to prevent the erosion, but it's gonna happen again.
Right.
Because of the way, because of the height difference. So if St. Paul, the property was there before, the adjacent subdivision has built up above St. Paul, so as the water, it's dammed up.
I would assume there's some sort of construction plans at the city of Wiley as far as how that area was built.
oh, I'm sure.
And I would say we probably ought to look at those and determine what that impact had been and maybe reassess what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I
I do agree with Kent though, that some type of relief, there must be pardon?
Used car version.
Right,
Used car version.
there should be a used car version analogy.
Just not a sketchy used car.
No, just a good used car.
Because you want to make sure.
Probably get free dirt.
Yeah, there should be a used car version, just because of the cost. Again, if there's several mitigating factors to all this that still haven't been defined.
Right.
So to provide temporary relief before the next season begins, I believe that it would not be a bad investment for us, the town, to at least provide some type of solace.
Some type of what?
Some type of
Clean out.
temporary clean out, yeah.
But is there an agreement that the homeowners can sign with the town that would allow the town to not only get on their property, but hold the town harmless and all this?
Yeah.
kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we come up with some sort of maintenance agreement with the property owners.
I'm not even talking about a maintenance agreement, I'm talking about just a
One
one-time.
Just let us do a one-time clean out.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, then we could revisit Wiley and their Cascade plans, take that to IBL and say, because it's a dam,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And see if there's something Wiley wants to do from their end to fix that washout. And then,
Well, we've got to look at what the construction plans were, but just the way you described it, yeah, there's a significant, there's
an
a significant
elevation.
liability.
If there's
There's
an elevation difference, then we're never gonna overcome that, even with the plans that IBL presented last
correct,
time.
and there is an
That can solve that
elevation.
problem.
And I'm surprised that that diligence had not been performed, considering, all things considered.
Yeah.
Right. So it definitely should be revisited.
Okay. So the direction, enter into an agreement to where we maintain just once.
Well, first off, find out
Not
who owns
maintain,
it.
But just
that
one
we
clean-
service.
There was service, yeah.
Okay.
We attempt some corrections.
So the problem is, Scott,
Uh-huh.
was when they put the big riprap rock in there, the homeowners could no longer maintain it anymore because you can't mow. That ditch, if you go through Cascades, has 3 ponds there with fish in it.
Yes.
So they can't put Roundup on it because if it killed the fish in the 3 ponds, somebody's gonna come back and get them on that. So the city, us, back in the past, placed this rock in there to aid, and by doing that, what ended up happening was it made it unmaintainable by the property owners. So we've got to restore it to maintainability, and then if it's their property, in my opinion, give it back.
Do those rocks help at all?
That might help.
Probably slow the flow of water down.
Yeah, it might help the wash, because it's concrete from under the street, those big culverts, and it like erosion where it eats away, where it drops off. So that rock may have helped somewhat, but it's not a tight enough deal that trees don't grow up through it, and grass. You can't walk on it, weed it, nothing. And Sunny is old, I don't know what her age is, and the couple that bought Sam's place are seniors as well.
That is the mayor speaking, not the council.
Yeah, sorry, Sonny, she'll laugh and giggle. But, I mean, it's elderly there, and so, you know, she's came to me several times and just said, I'm not comfortable getting a lawnmower down in there. It's too steep. It's too much washout. And the problem is, you can only mow it, here we get in the code enforcement, you can only mow it during the dry season, because once it starts raining,
Can we make
It's
sure that
impossible.
if we know that that's an issue, make exceptions so that Travis doesn't send notices to those homeowners
Absolutely.
for something that is a known issue?
We can work with them. I mean, that's the whole intent.
I just don't want it to be a default, they get letters
Yeah.
if it's a problem.
yeah, or fines they can't mow. But, anyway.
No, so definitely that, right, some of that riprap is, I believe, overlaps to the Wiley.
It does.
Okay. So the way forward is that we're going to draft a service agreement. Go ahead and clean it once with the property owners. Then we're going to do some additional due diligence as far as the construction that took place during Cascade.
Clean it up to make it maintainable, because we did that, not
Right.
Cascades.
Yeah, right. And then come back with a Cadillac and Chevy version, a used car version of repair. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and just a one-time deal and give it back. If the property owner, if it's theirs, then we give it back to them and let them maintain. If we put it in better shape than it's ever been, then we should be able to give that back to them to maintain.
Does it back up on the north side of Lakeway Drive?
It's
By your property?
on the south side.
I know.
Yeah, but it goes right through Justin's.
Yeah, it goes through.
Yeah, right
That
beside
has
him.
to
But that part's fine.
drainage
Flows through
somewhere.
Mhm.
And,
So up there on Parker Road is where they put
It's the
two
responsibility-
48-inch
The
culverts.
responsibility of
underneath the
the
road.
city is
And,
where.
yeah, and it just
I want
dumps.
to-
And I know mine is easement, so,
Just because it,
Yeah, I was
if we
guaranteed
go in
it's
and we
yeah.
provide some type of
I saw maps.
by removing the
My
existing
property
silt.
map was, had easement on it, so,
I think that would do, you
I
know,
think I have a piece of that
provide
big.
yeah.
years.
But I've been mowing
worth
it
of
on the corner of yours,
Yeah.
so I don't want it that way. so.
I don't know what that does to the city of Wiley,
yeah.
because that.
Well, we got to figure out how much is really their responsibility based upon the construction they approved for Cascade. It's not just looking at, well, 25% or 22% of this project's in the city of Wiley. It's what has taken place in Cascade during its development that's made the situation worse.
Do
And that's
you-
what we need to figure out.
Okay.
And you can do that through the construction plans.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just say that's something again, I know it had not been mentioned yet, but there is definitely a significant elevation change.
Yes.
A variance in elevation from the city of, or town of St. Paul to the city of Wiley.
Yeah.
It is very prominent.
Okay.
And you're suggesting the pipes that go from the St. Paul side to the Wiley side are just not big enough?
Are definitely I believe.
They're smaller than ours.
I mean, is there any, do they maintain those? Are they clogged up? Are they?
They're not clogged up. They're 200, I'm gonna guess 200 feet long, goes under their street
Sure.
and dumps into the pond, right?
I'm looking at it. yeah.
So, yeah, it's extremely long, and we have, say, 2 8-foot concrete square culverts under Lakeway. And then they have 2 6-foots. And then they elevated their properties on either side of it.
It's
And
definitely
so
a
it's
bottleneck.
washing from the sides.
So they created the bottleneck for water to back up, creating erosion.
The developer.
The developer, yeah.
So, just a silly question,
Mhm.
not looked over there during the rain, but looking at that picture, it hits the rocks, hits the riprap, does any of that water go laterally?
And that's exactly what's
That's
causing
what
the
it's
It's
erosion.
tried, it's creating
Well, that-
eddies.
That's
Yes.
what- Yeah, because that water's going laterally, then you're hitting the,
Yeah.
That's
And-
correct.
And this is what the resident, the homeowner has had to bring in dirt from the outside
Right.
to.
Put it back in and it just washes again.
Right.
And I think that's why Albio was saying put the geogrid and some of that stuff in there, which is true, but water is so powerful,
well, the root cause of that's the elevation difference from size of it.
so.
But I'm only an engineer.
I'm kind of curious how they justify the smaller culverts, if those 8-foot boxes.
I've heard two things, Robert may know, they
Parker
redid
Road wasn't as wide.
Lakeway,
Yeah.
they redid Lakeway once before at that bridge because it's street cracked. And I'm not sure that we didn't put bigger culverts in that were in there originally. Now, we never had a water issue there until TxDOT put Parker Road in. That's when the water started because, and the sediment is probably double what it used to be that's building up in there.
Our river's putting bigger culverts in there.
I don't know.
I think it was just trying to restore it to what it was.
Okay. And it would be so expensive, I would think that's all we did.
Yeah, I think
But
that's a good
when
point.
TxDOT put the big culverts in, the twins underneath Parker, we handle everything from Eddie's Diner all the way down. It definitely increased the flow.
Well, and you got all the stuff from the north side of the street too,
Yes.
including that big concrete storage center that wasn't there before.
But that may be something that you know more about,
Okay.
than any of us previously.
Okay, so I'll start working on that as well.
Okay.
So we don't need to do any action on 6.3 or 6.4.
Okay.
You're just gonna table those?
Yeah.
You gonna table those to next month?
That's-
We need a motion to table that till next month?
Make a motion,
We
we
table
table
it, give it time when they're gonna come back, and I don't think we'll be able to.
Not on the 22nd.
No,
Well,
Well,
6.3 you don't need to table. We actually have action items that we've given you.
Yes.
6.4 we can table, but
Right.
6.3,
We can revisit
We actually-
6.3 at our.
we've had discussion and
next
we have possible
direction.
actions.
Okay,
Okay?
okay, all right. So table it till the next meeting in October,
Next regular meeting.
next
Okay.
regular meeting in October.
Okay, well, let's go, I make the motion that we table 6.3 to our regular next meeting, council meeting in October 2025.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
6.4 is the same.
Thank you.
6.4, same thing?
I'll make the motion that we revisit 6.4 for our next regular council meeting in October 2025.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
My favorite.
It's loosely the gentleman word. 6.5, consideration and potential action on resolution number 25-09-08-B, authorizing the town's participation with other Texas political subdivisions in a group settlement of litigation against Purdue Pharma, Sackler family, and the other defendants associated with the opioid crisis litigation, including Teva Pharmaceuticals Limited, Endo Pharma, and other related parties, and authorizing the mayor and town administrator to execute related documents in accordance with the recommendations of the Texas Attorney General's office.
Well, I just want to make a note that we spent more than $21 just in printing
Yes.
all of this stuff.
So I think we should definitely take our legal counsel's recommendations to preserve the town's right to any future distributions.
Well, the other part, so what the resolution is doing is basically giving Kent and myself authorizations to pursue these other settlements once they come forward. And there's about 8 or 10 that have already been, that are progressing. And basically what you're doing is saying, yes, we want to accept the settlements, and it can be a few $100s, be a little bit more. And we can spend those monies, we can put them in our general fund account and spend them however. But when
I
they're,
read that different.
well,
Yeah.
when they're so they have two funds. So there are funds that come to all the local political subdivisions that go directly to their accounts, like the $21. But then some of the settlement funds are being set up as a grant. And if any of the cities, say like the city of Dallas or Dallas County, want to apply for those grant funds, there are restrictions on how those funds could be spent. But the monies are coming directly to the political subdivisions, you can put in your general funds. I talked to David Overcash about that.
So why do they get 100 grand and we get 20 bucks?
Well, to be honest, when I talked to David Overcash about it, I said, God, do we want to bother with this? But David said, I have a legal right to present this to council, and that's why it's before you. But he said, there are multiple other cases or settlements that you can pursue that you're going to be signing off on. And council just needs to give the authorization to the mayor and yourself and myself to.
Well, my question would be, for the $21, your hourly salary, how long is it gonna take to fill out the paperwork?
That's one page. It's one page.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
It's very straightforward, one page, and you're done.
Okay.
I have no issues.
Is a resolution 250908 Bravo?
Yep.
All right, I'll make the motion that we approve or adopt resolution 25-09-08- Bravo as it reads.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 6-6, discussion and possible action regarding proposal from Contractor Services Unlimited for minor repairs to Town Hall.
Now, these are just minor repairs that Alex and I have discussed that need to be done at Town Hall. The reason why I put it on the agenda, because the Contractor Services Unlimited is related to Alex, so I want to be transparent. These are, little improvements that we'd like to see done at Town Hall, like the lights outside. We want to paint Alex's office blue, like what's in the color here, and a couple other minor repairs at Town Hall as well. So we're just seeking council's authorization for that expenditure and to use the contractor listed. That's it. If you're comfortable with it.
I don't have a problem with it. It's $1,100 bucks.
How much?
$1,200.
$1,200?
$1,183.
Yeah.
It's de minimis.
Jeez, I spell it.
The what?
Must feel like, oh man, I wasn't paying attention.
Do you need a motion for this?
Yes.
Is it just because of the
Family relationship?
Yep.
But you're gonna be supervising the work, so that shouldn't provide it should.
Right.
Yeah, and the only thing to note is in a town as small as ours, you're gonna run up against this.
sometimes?
There's even code, municipal code even acknowledges that it's tough sometimes for a small town to find resources for this to happen.
I'll make a motion that we accept contractor services unlimited for the minor repairs to Town Hall.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 6-7, Town Administrator Code Enforcement SharePoint Workflow Reports.
I don't have anything in particular. I listed 2 or 3 items on here that I thought you may want to ask me about, but you have my monthly August report in there, along with the code enforcement report that was prepared by Alex, and then our first share, I know the print's small, the first SharePoint workflow chart. We'll make certain that's a little bit better than next time we put it in there.
Yeah, that can help.
Do you expect us to be 2 months behind on financials going forward, or are we gonna be able to review financials monthly?
We're only 1 month.
No, we did June and July,
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
so I'm just,
Yeah.
to set expectations,
Yeah.
be a little bit easier to
Okay.
do it more regularly instead of waiting a couple months.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it.
So, on the notes about the SharePoint stuff, people want to see certain numbers, let Alex know, and I can work with them.
Okay. They can't see, I'm sorry.
I said, if anybody here wants to see different data on the SharePoint data, summarized or stuff like that,
Right.
then I'll help her with the report.
I found it interesting to read. Yeah, there's small print, but I can,
But there's a bucket,
but it was helpful to
The
see
number of
all the
emails.
stuff that y'all were doing.
the number of emails come through is pretty amazing.
And we don't put I probably didn't put 25, 30% more.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
because I was getting. Thank you, sir.
I don't have any questions. I don't have any.
Okay. We,
JT's still looking, Robert's still looking. Yeah, Robert's good. JT is deep in thought.
is that what you're telling me?
Until the evening. Just give you a piece of it. You wanna make a motion?
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, please make a motion. For adjourn, do I have a motion for adjourn?
No, we gotta approve, is there anything to approve for 6 o'clock?
No, it's not finished.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
I second.
You seconded, Larry?
I did.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.